Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the week 9 Tuesday morning tutorial. Hopefully everyone is doing good and refreshed after the week off of not having to listen to us at least. Hopefully you are somewhat productive and relaxed a little. Okay, I'm going to start off with enumeration, as that's a question a lot of people have been putting up on a whole bunch of different channels, Discord, etc. So I'm going to start with it. Then we're going to switch to files and show you how to save and read and retrieve, etc. from file. So to do all the respective working with a file. Okay, is there anything else you would like me to do? So I'm going to focus on it. I'm going to do, enumeration is, sorry, I'm trying to get hold of Mr. Van der Westhuizen. Enumeration, it's simple, it's very straightforward, it's not going to take us long, and then files. But is there any other thing I need to cover with you guys? I do apologize for those people putting comments on the YouTube videos. I never saw them until recently. I don't check them that often. So I did get back to you if you are listening. Okay, anything else in chat that you want me to focus on besides enum and file saving? Can I get a thumbs up, thumbs down, something? Nothing at the moment. Okay, cool. I'm not going to do Dora the Explorer lecturing and wait for like 20 seconds for you guys to answer. I'm going to go with 2 people and that's enough. So let's start with enums. Enums is something you guys are actually, it's not hard to do. It's just a way of storing information. So is the code clear on your guys' screen? Because I know sometimes it's very blurry when I watch the videos afterwards. Okay, good. Let's see if I can remember enums without having to do too much coding or remembering enum. Animal type. Okay. So there I've declared my enumeration. And I give it an animal, and the enumeration is called animal type. Everyone okay with that? So that's, and what type of animals? I'm doing the practical 9, the lion and the rhino one. If you guys are wondering, we'll do that. So we're going to have a lion. And we're going to have a rhino. Rhino is tall. No brackets. Commas. That's declaring enumeration, ladies and gentlemen. Enumeration is a list of values that are represented by words. I don't know if you ever heard of the term called a constant. Were constants discussed with you in first semester? No. Okay. Okay. A constant is a variable that never changes. The value of pi in mathematical terms, and I'm scared. I'm bringing back nightmares from maths. But does the value of pi ever change? Okay, so the value of pi is a constant in programming as well. So there is a, if I go, let me show you. I don't need to write math. Pi, I go math. Dot pi. Okay, and there's pi. Okay, I don't need to go and define it. It's a constant in the code. You can declare constants yourself as well, but we'll go into constants in another day. Right now, let's focus on enumeration. enum or enumeration is not to make your program better. It got nothing to do with improving the performance, the efficiency, the anything of your code. Okay, it doesn't make it run smoother. It doesn't make it do anything better. Enumeration is to make it easier for you to read as the developer. Enumeration, it can be used for other things, but the main thing we focus on for now is it's an easy way for you to read what you're doing. Now, to highlight that point, if we look at this example here, we have select case C. Case 1, case 2. What is case 1 and what is case 2? Is it easy to see what case 1 and case 2 are without reading all the code? No, it's a pain in the ass. Okay, so we want a better way to do it. So we go animal type dot ion. Animal type dot rhino. And voila, we have enumeration. Because the value of lion is 1, the value of rhino is 2. So instead of saying case 1, case 2, we go case animal type lion, case animal type rhino. Yes, it's that simple. But does it make it easier to read? It's not like a custom boolean, it's an integer value. It's 1, 2s, and 3s. Enums can be declared anywhere. If you declare it in a form, it's accessible in the form. If it's in a class, then it's class. I think it can be declared as public. I'm not sure. Yeah, so I guess you could declare it in a form and make it public. Remember, if it's in a form, it'll be, you want to make sure it's accessible. So there you go. That's enumeration, ladies and gentlemen. Over and done. There's nothing more to it. All it does is make this a lot easier to read. So when I'm looking at the code in a month or week time, I can say, okay, select case C, okay, lion, rhino. So I know this is rhino and this is lion. That's what all it does. There are some other uses, yes, but I'm not going to go into those right now. This is the use you need to know for now. Okay, it is an integer. If you don't declare a defining value like that, what do you think the value of lion is? Let's just get this out the way. If I just go there, notice there's no errors. And excellent answer, 0, fantastic. If I don't define that lion is 1, by default it is 0 and rhino is 1. If I do this and stop, what is the value of rhino? 2. It automatically increases. Okay. So if you don't declare the first value, it starts at 0. If you declare the first value, it'll start at whatever value. Why, sir? It automatically increments. So it sees the first value, that's the starting value. Then whatever I put afterwards gets increased by 1. So if I don't start it at 1, it starts at 0, then it's 0, 1. If I start it at 1, then it's 0, 1, 2. That's just how it works within the VB. Okay. So that's enumeration. Everyone okay with enumeration now in chat? No, you can't make Rhino 1 because that'll cause a problem. You probably could, but that'll screw up the code. Find out. That, Is that, what type of mistake is this then? If the computer is not complaining, what type of mistake is it? That's not a runtime error. This is a logic error. Thank you. Logical. Okay, it's to do with a developer. Unfortunately, that's you guys and me. So a developer does this. This is known as a logical error. If we remove lion, actually, I've never tried that. I'm not going to try it right now. We'll try it another day. Because unfortunately, we've got quite a bit of work to still do. It should be what, 0, 0. Try it, see what happens. I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to leave it in the code because today we need to focus on files, specifically saving to files. Okay, and there's a lot of things we've got to look at. Can I start negative numbers? I believe so. So be it, negative numbers. Look, it's an integer, and an enumeration is an integer value. It's a collection of integer values that are constant, they don't change. So a value of line and Rhino will not change through the entire course of the program. That is what a constant is. A constant is a value that never changes through the entire course of the program. From hard-coded all the way through. It's normally constants also hard-coded generally. So like pi in that, it's a constants. Okay, can we move to files now, ladies and gentlemen? Because that's the next biggest section and might take a bit longer to explain. If we have time, we can come back and mess around with enumeration, but I think files are more important. Okay, took me a whole night to understand enumeration. Okay, just to answer that person's question, ladies and gentlemen, remember, when you're trying to learn something yourself, it is sometimes more difficult. But if someone explains to you, it becomes easier. That's why you have a lecturer. Okay, but I'm happy to see that you tried to understand it. I'm thrilled to see that. That's fantastic. It's good. It's a good thing. Because unfortunately, you are going to get to the point where you don't really have a lecturer to tell you what to do anymore. You have to become more self-taught. Okay, so to start off with files, what do I need to do? What's the first thing we need? Import. Fantastic. Imports system.io. IO is input outputs. Good. What's the second import we need to do? Well, this is a long ass one. Yeah. Imports system dot file. No. Is it now? System dot. That's not binary. No. That's runtime. Serialization dot. Is it formatter or formatters? Formatters, please be careful. Formatters dot binary. That's the biggest mistake I see over the years. People go formatters, formatter and not formatters. It's formatters. Be careful of spelling. So it's imports.system.runtime.serialization.formatters.binary. Everyone okay with that? What does system.io give us? Function of line 5 and 6 is to import the respective libraries. Now the question is, what is the IO library? File stream, fantastic, correct. The binary, what's the point of the binary? Serialization, there we go, excellent. But specifically, serialization in terms of a binary formatter. So what does line 5 and 6 do? It imports the libraries for the respective files we need. I don't know how else to say that. Binary casting, no. These two give us access to the following. Private file stream as file stream. Actually, I'm going to cause a horrendous mistake in my code if I do that. This and private file name as string, private binary formatter as binary formatter. Okay. Binary hope way to access file stream. No. Binary is how we convert things. So a binary formatter is how we convert information into a format that can be passed into the file stream. A file stream is just a type of stream that connects two pieces of two containers per se. We have our program container. Let me draw this out. Whiteboard. File. Okay, now in order for these two to connect, to have an established point of communication, we need our file stream. So the file stream allows for communication. So this purple line is the file stream. So we're going to send a object into this file stream. Let's make it a stream there. So we're going to send an object down. It's going to be converted into binary and then saved into file. The same thing is going to be happen. It's going to be read back and converted from binary into data. So the binary formatter allows us to send things in and retrieve from the file. The file between the two. So in order for us to work with an application, work with a file, we have to have a file stream. So this is the stream that connects the pieces of data together, the two pieces of data, the two things together. This is what we call connection. So it's the file stream is the connection. So this perp channel is a file stream that forms a connection to the file. So we can push stuff into the file. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, there's a few things we have to do with the file stream. We've got to create it, etc. So we're going to do that as well. I'll do step by step with you. What's the importance of a file name? Going back to the code now. Specific location, excellent. So the file name determines the location and the name of the file. Okay, we're not going to worry too much about location right now. We're going to be using relative location, not absolute location. Absolute location we'll discuss when we have time. Okay, I'll explain what the hell I just said in a few minutes. Let's just go back here. Add a button. Add another button and another button. Now we added another text box. TXT file display ETN save file ETN read from file. The hell? Alignment I messed up. Okay, it's going to be read from file. Save to file. Create file. BTN create file. There we go. Okay, so I've got about extra buttons and we're going to use those. Yeah, I can move that here. It's fine. Okay, so create file. And read from file. Okay, so there's our brand new buttons. One to create, one to save, and one to read. The rest of the code really doesn't really change, except we need these three variables. Now, when we create a file, we first got to define its file name. So file name equals, and we say wildlife.dat. Okay, that's it. All we do with the file name for now. We're not going to go into complicated way variations. It's going to be done like that. So that is our file name for the program. It's not going to change again. It's fixed to that for the rest of the code. Everyone okay with that? Okay. Now I'm going to go through creating a file. .dat, just for the sake of it. Hell, I can call it .ifm. Doesn't really matter. It's just, an extension is just so a computer knows what to do with a file. Okay, if I tell you to work with a .doc file, what am I talking about? Sorry, yeah, Word. A .xls. Okay, that's all an extension is. It tells the computer what type of file it is. So me saying ifm.dat, it just tells the computer that this is a dat file. It doesn't really know what to do with the .dat or if ifm file, so it just ignores it. Extensions tells the computer what program is responsible for a file. So file stream equals file stream. Excuse me. What three things does a file stream need? Location, mode, access. Excellent. So file name. It's file mode is create. And it's file access. We're just gonna leave it as a read for now because we automatically gonna do this. So what has that code done for us? There are better ways of doing this, I know, but I'm just breaking it down into simple steps, basic steps for you guys. What is this code doing for us? No, okay, yes, good, ends connection. Closes the stream, it creates the file. Good. This simply creates the file. So let's have a look at what this does. So if we run the program, okay. Let me just stop. Clean. Yay. Okay. Do you see any wildlife.ifm? In here? No. Okay. I'm gonna go create. Ooh. I did not know this was possible. File mode.create with file access read invalid. Okay, so let's go read write. Okay, same thing. Do you guys see the IFM here? Let's hopefully it works this time. Let me sometimes tricky with this stupid thing. Okay, can you see the file, the window, that there's no .ifm? Assume that's a no. Okay, in here, you should not see any IFM. I'm going to go and create now. There's the wildlife.ifm. So it makes it in the same location as the executable. That's the program there. So that what I'm highlighting now is the actual exe of your application. So there is the IFM file I just made. Everyone okay with that point? I'm going to zoom out. I created it by doing that. Is the VB folder where we open our code? Yes. So you normally will double click on this, or you'll double click on it inside here. Inside bin, debug is your executable. Yeah, if I open it now, it's empty. But it's going to ask me how the hell do I open it? Okay, I'm just going to go Notepad. Notepad. WordPad is going to be better. And it's blank. Okay. So that's creating a file. So now let's talk about saving a file. No, it doesn't remove it. It's not removed. This is what we're going to be very careful about. Sorry about the intense noise in the background of my dogs. If it is coming through, I do apologize. Okay. To save a file, I'm not talking about the objects. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking about saving a file. We'll come to the objects later. To save a file, we need to open the stream again. Okay, because remember, when we press the button, we open the file stream. We created the file. We closed the file. Now, when we work with it again, we've got to reopen the file stream. Every time we close the stream, the connection is severed, and we've got to open it again. So first things off, file stream equals new file stream, file name. This time file mode is open because it's there, and file access is write because we're saving. Don't you like? What don't you like? I'm running the program. No, it's not read write. Yeah, thank you. I just realizing that now. I'm writing, so I'm not worried about reading. If I'm writing, I'm writing it. If I'm reading, I'm reading. When I'm saving, I'm writing. I'm not going to read and write at the same time. Okay, a bit of a habit of mine. Always to close the damn stream. Make sure I've closed it before I continue. Okay. Always close your file stream. So the most important thing you can do is close your file stream. So now that we've got our file stream open, we can save. Now this is where we're going to look back to Practical 9, but the original Practical 9. Using the single array of wildlife object created it, save all the rhino to a sequential file. Okay, save a rhino object only. So remember, this Practical 9 was about creating a wildlife, which had a line and a row. But instead of saving both, it just wants us to save the rhino. So what do we need to do in order to know to save a rhino out of the array? Direct cast, correct. But before we direct cast, what do we have to do? What always pairs up with direct cast? If statement, good. What is the if statement checking? Type of, excellent. So we go if type of wildlife I is rhino, then what we go, now this is also important, do we have a binary formatter? Remember, we've declared a binary formatter, but we don't have a binary formatter. So we need to say that a binary formatter is equal to a new phase, a new binary, binary formatter. And expects nothing. Fantastic. Okay, so now we've got a binary formatter. Rhino temp as rhino temp equals direct cost, and then now we can say wildlife I, comma rhino. A binary formatter does not need the file stream. Okay. A binary reader and binary writer do. Now that's going to come when we discuss random access. Binary formatters don't need the file stream when we create them. They need it when we use them. I'll show you now. Okay, so now we have our Rhino object. We need to save it to file. So are we deserializing or serializing? Good, good. Excellent, excellent. We're serializing. Binary formatter dot serialize file stream and then the object. Rhino. And that's it. Now we've saved to file. Okay, we have, okay, serialization is the command that says take the Rhino object, convert it to binary, and send it to the file stream. That's why you pass it both the file stream and the Rhino temp, the object. So you're saying, here's the stream. I don't know if that image is still in whiteboard. No, damn it, it's gone. No. We don't. The reason we're downcasting is to make sure we have a Rhino object and we have all parts of the Rhino object as well. But a binary formatter can only work with one object at a time. That is correct, but it's nothing to do with the downcasting. Okay. I'm going to show you two different ways of doing this. First, we're going to save only Rhino. Then we're going to save both Rhino and Lion, and then deserialize. So we've got quite a bit of work, but is everyone okay with how I've saved? I'll do Q&A near the end of the session because there's quite a lot I've got to show you. Okay, as you notice, this is not a small section. There's quite a lot to it. Now, this is not something you have to do. This is something I personally do, just to make sure I don't screw up my files. I make sure that I destroy all connection to the file before I move on. So I close the file, I destroy the formatter, I destroy the file stream. Okay, it's just personal style of programming. I'm not sure if Mr. van der Westhuizen does the same thing. I do it to make sure that there's all connection to the file stream is gone. The binary formatter is gone. It no longer exists. Okay, you don't have to set it to nothing. I do it out of habit. You can also do it. It's up to you, but it's not something you have to. It's optional. No, it won't affect the folder. It won't affect the folder. Let's save a few objects to file. Okay, first thing, initialize. We're gonna have two. Hey, and two. What the hell? One for Rhino ID track 1, rarity 5. How many? 6 sightings. 3, 6. Rhino 2. ID tracker 6. Rarity 2. 2, 1, 2, whatever. Okay, I'm going to create the file, save to file. Now let's see if it breaks. Now it's breaking, and I actually expected it to break. Any idea why? Mr. van der Westhuizen would have taught you a keyword that you need to use. What is the keyword? Serializable, exactly. So let's stop. And we make this serializable. Fantastic. Let's run it again. I'm not going to go with 2, I'm going to go with 1 just to test. Rhino. ID tracker 1, 35, 6, 2, 2, create file, save file, bombed again. Why is it bombing again? I made it serializable, and it's giving me the same exception. What am I missing? I've made Rhino serializable, but no, it's not a try catch. It's an actual. This is a logic error. What is a Rhino? This is something important to understand. No. No. What is? Thank you. It is wildlife. Is the information in wildlife serializable? And ladies and gentlemen, that is the reason the problem occurs. You can't save a derived class unless the base class is serializable as well. Okay. So in order to save a Rhino, that means wildlife and Rhino must be serializable. Does this mean a lion is serializable? Excellent. Excellent. Good. It's not serializable. We haven't defined it as serializable, so it's not serializable. Excellent. Okay. So let's run the program again. Two. How many months? Always ask for the lines. Two. Right. 1, 5, 3, 2, 2. Rhino. 2 levels. 1 fresh. 3 month. 6, 6, whatever. Okay. Create file. Save to file. No error message this time. Okay. But do it worked? Is there anything that says it's worked? Okay, so we need to add a bit of code to inform the user. But let's test if it worked. So bin debug wildlife. And it's got a bunch of gibberish in it. That is my 2 rhinos. Okay, so parent can be tagged serializable and will not affect the child class, correct? Is that binary? It is the computer attempting to convert it backwards, yeah. Problem is the only program that can read this properly is the program we've made. Okay. So let's do the read part. This is where things get a bit easier for me as well. So read from file. First off, we need this again. So we can go there. We need to go to the same file name. We need to open it. Are we going to write to it this time? No, read. Good. Read. Now, how many objects are in the file? Do we know? And don't tell me 2, please, because that's just a lame guess. No. When we write the code to read from file, we always know how many they're going to be. Thank you. You don't know. Is this right? File, it's fs dot position is less than fs dot length. It's been a while since I've done this. Give me a break. Yeah, okay. I remember. How are you going to count the number of lines? It's somewhat readable if you know what you're looking for. Okay, let me explain what I've just written, because some of you are looking at, well, probably looking at your screen like, what is he smoking? And why isn't he sharing? Some of you caught the joke at least. Okay. And the person that said it's basically end of file, you are spot on. It is a end of file. I don't know what a scanner and a delimit with those. Okay. So what I'm saying is, I'm gonna have to draw this out. I sometimes find it easier to draw it out. What is end of file? Excellent question. So when we save to file, let me find the right shape. Can you guys see the whiteboard? I never know how long it takes to swap over. Okay, cool. Let's pick a color. Every time we save to file, every time we serialize, we add a new box. Some boxes are smaller, some boxes are bigger. We don't really know. So every time we serialize, we are just simply adding on objects. How many objects there are, we don't really know. Okay, it's the limit of the screen. So we just keep adding. So say it continues off the screen. So what I'm telling the computer to do is make use of something called a file position. Now, this is going to be horrendous to draw. Let's go blue. File position is a location in the file. So when the file position starts, it's there. Everyone okay with that? File position starts at the beginning. When I deserialize, file position moves here. And my drawing has just got worse. File position moves here. When I deserialize again, file position moves here. And this is the thing with sequential. I only can read one object at a time in a specific order. So I save this one first, I deserialize this one first. Then I deserialize this one, then this one. But every time I deserialize, my file pointer shifts to the next location. So I deserialize. It doesn't start at the end. Ooh, that went haywire. A file, because I've just opened the file stream, the file position is at the beginning. Now, as I move on, I deserialize. And I deserialize again. Now my file position is sitting here, right over in this corner here. Is this the end of the file? Have we reached the length of the file? Yes. So what the code I'm doing is, while the file position is not the same as the length of the file, keep reading from file. Problem is, every time I switch over, I lose this, so it's going to happen anyway. Joseph, Blackboard Colab. I'll explain what deserializing does now. But does everyone understand the file position and the file length now? The file length is the absolute length of the file. Not the number of objects, not the number of objects, just the length of the file. File position is where it is in the file. Now, a deserialize doesn't care for the size of the object. It cares for the type. It cares for a object. It reads an object. When we serialize an object, the system puts specific markers to say this is the start and the end of an object. So the program knows to read so much data before it reaches the next object. Yes, there's a separator. There's a separator between each object being saved. When we start deserializing, we start with object in the first position. Remember, we open the file position. When we open the file position, it goes back to the beginning. With sequential files, every time we open the file, we're at the beginning. Actually, no, always at the beginning. Every time we open the file, we're at the beginning of the file. So to read from the file, we deserialize. Now, there's stages to the deserialization. I'm going to show you a slightly different version to what Mr. Van der Westhuizen showed. so I can show you a variation later, if time permits. When I deserialize, what do I get back? Let me ask you that. I start the occasion then. I haven't been drinking, don't worry. No, when I deserialize, what do I get back? I'm deserializing the file, yes, but what do I get back? High level data, no. Yes, thank you. An object. Okay, I lie, I have been drinking, I've been drinking a Monster. Okay. When I deserialize, I get back an object. So if I do this, if notice, no, I'm showing you a different way so I can show you if I save lions and rhinos. I'm trying to show you as much as I can in one video, so if you get stuck, you always can come back to the video. Okay, but we'll do it a couple times. So I can automatically cast, that's correct, if I know what I've saved. So right now I deserialize. Notice when I deserialize, do I specify the type I'm deserializing? Compare it to when I serialize. I serialize a file stream and I give it an object. When I deserialize, I just give it a file stream. Because it reads the first object, then the next object, then the next object, until there's no more objects to read. Okay, so now I know it's a Rhino, okay, because I saved Rhino. So we don't have to do the type of, we can do straight to temp Rhino as Rhino. I know I'm doing extra code. I'm going to show you in a few minutes so you guys can understand why the variation. Okay, temp Rhino equals direct. Also, I'm breaking it up so you can see the different stages of the information being passed back. Temp object, comma, Rhino. And then I can say txt dot text equals temp Rhino. Okay. So, what do we do? Why do we do a direct cast? Because I've got an object, I've got to cast it back to being a Rhino. Object is an object, so I need to cast it back to being a Rhino. I need to change it back to being a Rhino. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now there's a question. Now, here's a question for you. Do I need? No, it's not a Rhino already. It's an object. I'll explain it again now. Okay. Do I need to create and save a file to read right now? Do we have a file in the program already? Is there a file there? Do we have a wildlife.ifm? Yes. So if I read it'll break. Why is it breaking? Why is it breaking? Path cannot be null. Why is that? Path cannot be null. Oh. Anyone want to guess why that happened? I'll scroll up to give you a hint. No, file stream's not nothing. It's saved. File name is nothing. Yes, thank you very much. Because where do I set the file name? Inside the create, which is a dumbass idea. Okay, so let's scrap that. Okay, stop. No. Oh, let's move it back up. Let's make it there. So I've moved file name, setting of file name to where I declare it. So file name as string equals wildlife.ifm. Done. Okay. I'll still get back to why I'm casting, don't worry. But I just needed to fix the file name. So the file name, I'm now not declaring, I'm not setting the value of file name inside a button. I'm setting it where I declare the variables to make life easier and allow this to happen. Read. And voila. The two rhinos that we saved to file are now visible. I know it's a bit small on your screen. I can't zoom in much without getting it just distorting everything. But now I can see the two rhinos I saved to file. Okay, without having to go and create the file and save the file and everything else, I'll zoom in a bit. Let me just explain what the hell I'm doing here. So, first off, you know that I'm setting up, opening the file stream. I'm getting the binary formatter. I'm going for the position to the length, so I'm reading as many objects as there are in the file. I am deserializing the file stream, which is, in a sense, taking the information from the file and bringing it into the program. Deleting is easy. We'll do that later. But every time I create, I delete it anyway. I'll show you what I mean now. So back to this point. I deserialize. When I deserialize, the information it pulled is an object, type object. In VB, there is a type object, so it pulls in an object. So I deserialize, I get an object back. Now, I don't know what the object is, per se. In this example, I know it's a rhino, so it's easy. I can just say direct cast the object to rhino, display it. Displays to file. You guys okay with that? Any questions about this section? I know I'm doing it a very long way, but there's a reason for that. Any questions? So if we already created the file and you create it again, does it overwrite the file? In there, is there a way to append? There is a way to append, but we'll explain that later. And when you create the file again, it does overwrite, which I'm going to show you now. So can you please explain again? Okay. So are you okay with me opening the file stream for reading and the file binary formatter from 113? Okay, thank you. I'm going to do that now, the type of. Give me a second. We'll do that in a few seconds because that's something I'm going to do next, if time permits. So let me just explain for those who are still battling with what I'm doing here. What the reason for the while loop is to loop through the stream, to loop through all the information saved to file, because I don't know how many things are in file. You never know how many objects are saved to file. You're not supposed to. So I then go and deserialize the first object from the stream. I deserialized it. I convert it to I downcast it. Sorry, it's not converting, it's casting. I downcast it to a Rhino and display it. Okay, so I downcast and display. Everyone, okay, does that make more sense, Masundo? Masondo. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. You can talk.
Morning, sir.
Morning.
So I just wanted to know why is the temp object as object?
Because that's when I deserialize, that's what I get back. I get back an object.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Object is just a data type. Object is just, yeah, integer string double. It's a type of data. Okay. Can you cast the line object? No, we can't cast the line object because it's going to break it. But I'm going to show you something else now. Is everyone okay with how to create the file, essentially? Save a Rhino and read a Rhino. Okay, cool. That's enough yeses, so I can move on. And we have time. Now, let's try this again. What if I told you to save everything? Randomly, just save everything. Save lions and rhinos. Will this work? Am I missing something? I'll get back to the lost. Is lion currently serializable? Good. Okay, so lion is missing serializable. So that's the first problem. Problem solved. So what I'm saying now in the code is open a file stream, get the binary formatter, go through everything in the array, and save it to file, regardless of what it is. Whether it's a line or a rhino, I don't care, save it to file. Yes. And now you understand why I've made the other part slightly more complicated. Okay, so I just need some simple water. Okay, so I've successfully saved everything to file. But will this work? Is this going to work still? There we go, and thank you very much. We have to first check it's a Rhino, and it's not going to work. So this is why I first got the object. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is something I need to make sure you understand very, very carefully. Without, this is a difficult thing to explain, so I'm going to try my best to explain it over video. Every time you call the deserialize function, the file stream automatically shifts the pointer, the position. That means I can't call the deserialize more than once in the while loop. Please never call deserialize more than once in the while loop, else it'll move the pointer twice and you will start to skip objects. I don't have enough time to show you that error. I'll try and maybe do it on Thursday. But just listen to me very carefully now. Do never, ever deserialize twice in the same for loop. While loop, sorry, while loop. Is everyone clear on that statement? How you deserialize, I'm not concerned. But in one while loop, never deserialize more than once, because you will skip an object and that'll cause problems. Okay, so now let's get to the reading of these objects. So we're going to have if type of temp object is Rhino, then temp Rhino as Rhino temp Rhino equals direct cast temp object Rhino txt display dot text I'll complete this properly. Temp Rhino dot display I keep pressing the wrong button today. Environment. Okay. Else. If. Never assume. Don't just assume the next one's, if it's not a line, it's a Rhino. Always check because you could get a mistake in your code. Lion. N. Lion equals direct cast. Object dot lion lion. I'm doing the same thing twice. I'm checking if it's a line. If it's a line, a direct cast display. If it's a rhino, a direct cast and display. Now, the question I want to ask, can I read the file that I created earlier? Yes. Because remember, I'm checking if it's a rhino or a lion. And the objects saved to file know what they are. So it's checking, is it a lion? No. Is it a rhino? Yes. Okay, display. Now, to answer the question earlier, if I go create file and I read from file, I don't have it clear, sorry. I just want to do, I actually just want to add two things to it, to the txt file display text equals this is just for my sanity's sake. Also, I don't know if it's actually working. Now let's go this again. If I go and create the file, we created the file, I read them from the file. Is there anything in the file? No. Okay. Why is BF and FS set to nothing? It's to make damn sure that they are, those objects are destroyed and have no connection to the file. Let me just do this also. txt file display text design all objects read. So I'm setting them to nothing to make, it's just to make sure that there's no connection. Okay, I'll get back to your question. I just want to show the program running. So I can create the file, I can read from the file, and notice because I created the file, the mode of creation is create. It deletes, it destroys, it overwrites, however you want to think it, whatever file existed. So be careful. That's why I've kind of separated them. So if I've got a file already, I can just open it and write to it. If I don't have a file, I can create. You also can use open and create. It's also an option. So let's go and make some objects. Let's make 3. Lines are monitored for 2 months. Make life easier. I'm going to make a rhino. 1, rarity 2, 6, and it's monitored for 30 times, 30 times. Lion. ID is 5, rarity 5, monitor sites 20, 20, how many in the pri 20, is it an alpha? Yes. Damn it. Okay, it's a boolean, so it's either 1 or 0. See if I can continue. No, I gotta start again. Okay, my screen went blank, so hold on. Yeah, I know. How many? 3, 2, 1. This is for a rhino. This is for a lion. 5, rarity 2, 20, 20, try 20. Alpha, yes. Rhino, ID 6, rarity 5, fresh 2, sightings 30. What the hell? Man, try catches would be nice now. Debugging. 2 months, 1, ID 1, rarity 5, sightings 20, 20, in the pride 20, it's an alpha. Rhino, ID 2, rarity 5, rhino crash 20, big ass herd. 3, 1, another rhino, ID 5, rarity 5, fresh 1, sightings 50, sightings 50. We can display, we can create the file, we can save file, and we can read from file. Okay, so there is a lion, there's a rhino, and then a rhino. Okay. Now getting back to the question, what would happen if we only converted the child class and not the base classes? Would the base class be converted as well as linked? In what type of conversion are you referring to? You could use polymorphism as well, but you can't. You'd have to convert it to a wildlife. You can't work with it as a lion here as a object. So when you deserialize, you either have to convert it to a lion, a rhino, or wildlife, one of the three. You can't work with it as an object. You have to downcast it from being an object, or convert it from being an object into being a actual variable we can work with. What if there are 100 objects? So it reads 100 objects. I wouldn't want to enter 100 objects. I would like to try catches because, as you saw, I made enough mistakes that I had to restart just for 3. I'd throw up a couple try catches in there to try and make my life easier. And I wouldn't use a for loop like I am doing now. I'd use a dynamic array like Mr. van der Westhuizen and I showed you previously in other web practicals. If a file like previous data stored in application when using phone calculate yeah, okay, you're talking about right now we haven't taught you how to append a memory, and we're working with serial. We're talking about sequential files. So sequential files only can start at the beginning. So if I open up a sequential file, I always start at the beginning. And I then start saving information. I think what your calculator could be using is a variation of sequential and random access, which we'll be discussing later. But there are other ways. What does clear do? Clear clears the text. So instead of having all the text remaining in the text box, I delete the information so it's clear for the next display. It's just equals nothing. But we'll expand on your question about saving stored data like permanently. So when I go back to it in a month, I can add to the data. If we get a chance later in the semester, we will explain on how to do that. but unfortunately time is very limited on our hands right now. As you guys know, we're in week 9 and we have 13 weeks left. So we got a short period of time left. So we will be working with we're working with the time we have available. Can we set each class to a single digit? Like, and create a loop to deserialize? No, you can't do that. How do you know which ones you are deserializing? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you only have 4 weeks left. Ms. van der Westhuizen did mention this yesterday. Maybe it's only sunk in now, but you only have 4 weeks left of this term. What, a year? No, we're not done with the new work. There's still random access and collision handling, and we've got to do your social aspects of IT. So there's still work to be done. No, ladies and gentlemen, there's still plenty of work to be done. Short year. No, long ass year, just short semester. You can't really do that with the deserializing. Going back to my Basol's question, you can't do that because when it comes out as an object, you don't have access to the information. Welcome to second semester. As you mentioned, the speed is going away. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Ladies and gentlemen, as the years move on, you'll notice the time gets shorter and shorter each year. You have more work to do, less time. It's kind of how varsity works. Unfortunately, all I can say is use your time wisely. We will, like, that's why we're having 2 tutorials on a Tuesday and a Thursday. So if you're getting stuck, we can help you now. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in next week is computer science semester test. The following week is informatics semester test. So between now and then, we've got to get you ready to write code, and file is part of the test. So the tutorials are going to be very focused on getting you ready for this semester test, and that is why practical 8, 9, and 10 have all been past papers. You just haven't known it. Practical 8, 9, and 10 have all been past papers. Practical 8 and 9 had the file section removed. Practical 10, I kept the file section. If you want additional work, you can look at Mr. Singh's bootcamp classes or revision classes he did in the recess. He did the practical 9. He did that, and he did a past paper, as another past paper as well. So that's other ways you can get additional resources. Thankfully, I managed to complete all the sections I wanted to do with you within the time. Any other questions? Okay, with this information, what we've done today, you should be able to do practical 10 quite easily because you now know enumeration and you know how to save and read from file. Depends on the question. Sometimes the questions will say read 2 classes, sometimes the questions will say read 1 class. Just depends on the paper we set. We haven't set the semester test papers yet. You still have to set them. Beginning of the lecture, enumeration was done. It was that. Yeah, okay. If there's no questions, I'll go over enumeration again quickly. If there are any other questions. Okay. Okay, I think I've gone over everything. And let me end the recording and I'll answer the questions that everyone has in chat still. I'll stick around for a bit. As always, let me just stop recording.